What is up, you guys? It's Nat. Welcome to my video. Happy Halloween. Boy, do I have some stories for you today. Oh my goodness. And by the way, this was going to be one long build. As you can probably tell by the title, I am building the Clue house. I'm very excited about that. This was supposed to be my big Halloween spectacular celebration type video. And life kind of got in the way. So this is part one. Part two will be coming out to you later this week, I hope. My intention was to upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but also today, Tuesday, because it is Halloween. I was going to have Halloween videos throughout the week just to top off October, but stuff happens, so, it's fun, it's fun. Also, when I was editing this video and putting it all together, I discovered that this build was about 40 minutes long, and as many of you may know, I tried to do a 37-minute voiceover last week, and it was not okay. My voice was dying, I felt awful the next day, so I've just decided we're going to avoid that, and I also don't want to just give you, I would have to go in and try to find so much music to fill up the background, or just have it be quiet, which would be awful. So I decided to tease you all and give you part one today, and then we'll do part two maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. I'll explain why I don't know when. But so part one today is just going to be the floor, the floor, the ground floor of this mansion. I'm very excited to bring it to you. I was basing the floor plan off of the game version. So if some of you have, well, hopefully all of you, have played Clue at one point, it's one of my favorite games. I actually played it recently. I played it a few days ago, and that's when I got the idea to build the house. Now, there is also going to be a Create a Sim video going with this. You will see, well, okay, no, I don't want to spoil it, but basically I'm going to be also releasing a Create a Sim of all the characters in Clue, Mrs. Peacock, Miss Scarlet, Colonel Mustard, Mr. Plum, Mrs. White, and Mr. Green. Oh no, I'm sorry, Professor Plum, Mr. Green, Mrs. White. I'm going to be releasing a cast of them. Again, I'm not sure when it will get out to you, but I will get into that in a moment. But basically, you're going to have a 3-part series for the Clue game special thing. We're going to have 2 parts for the house and 1 part for the Create a Sim. So yeah. But anyways, let's get into these life stories and tell you what is going on and why I missed yesterday's upload and nearly missed today's upload and will hopefully not miss tomorrow's upload. So yeah, if you live in New England, or at least if you live in my part of New England in Massachusetts, you would know that we got hit with a massive storm system a couple days ago. And for whatever reason, it was not classified as a hurricane. I don't know why, because we did have winds reaching, not 100, 70, 75 miles per hour. And it was a mess. I do not understand how it wasn't classified hurricane, because honestly, it caused more damage than any hurricane we've been hit with in my area so far this season. So, what happened? Well, I lost a lot of, not trees, but tree limbs. Lots of very, very large tree limbs. My entire driveway, my front lawn, my backyard, my neighbors' houses, smothered in large tree limbs, dead leaves, just everything. It's awful. Winds were horrible. I could barely sleep that night because the winds were just so loud and obnoxious and terrifying. I have some very big old trees outside my house, so I was very nervous. And nervous was right. I was right to be nervous. A lot of areas around me lost power. We did not. Our power did flicker for a while, but we did not lose power. But actually, I went to a Halloween party yesterday to the neighboring town, and they are, I think 80% without power. The house I went to for the party had a generator, and down the street there was a ton of road work. So when I first went there, it was all backed up. I couldn't see what it was, and I thought, oh, maybe it was an accident, or maybe they're cleaning up some tree limbs, whatever. Well, we're heading back home later in the night, and the normal road that we would take is blocked off, and we have to go around it, and we basically have to go through what was blocked off to us earlier. And oh my goodness, there were cops everywhere. There were National Grid workers everywhere. There were at least, I think, 1 or 2 power lines ripped out of the ground, fallen on the side of the street, trees down. It was insane. It looked like a tornado had gone through. I was like, how is this not classified as a hurricane? I mean, come on. But oops, give me 2 seconds. I just lost my screen. My screen went to dark, and I need to make sure this records the right amount of time, because, Yeah, just so you guys know, I'm not watching the video right now. As many of you know, I do all my recording, my editing on a very, very old, like 5.5-year-old MacBook right now. And it can't handle this amount of activity on it right now between the video and the audio. And I want to make sure that my audio doesn't start skipping. So I'm just paying attention to the clock. And yeah, so just so you know, sorry, I can't really talk about the build. I can talk about the build, but I won't know what's going on. So yeah, basically, the only reason this is getting out to you, if it does today on Halloween, is because I'm going to Dan's grandmother's house to help pass out Halloween candy, and we're going to do like a little haunted house thing in their driveway. So while I'm there, I'm going to start uploading the video, and hopefully, it goes through. But yeah, so if it makes it out to you today on Halloween, that's the only reason why. So try and do as little editing as possible right now, but it's life. It is life. Yeah, so power lines completely ripped out of the ground. Totally explains why the town was like 80% at least without power. It was just awful. I know in some places they've actually rescheduled Halloween. They're trying to push it back to this Friday, I think, just because there are lines down everywhere. Which brings me to my fun story. So yesterday morning, I woke up. I was doing some stuff. Scared Wilfred with a trash barrel by mistake. Oops. And I was out in my front yard and I was doing some stuff. I think I was like trying to pick up some limbs out of the street and was also checking the mail and, whatever boring stuff. And there is a low hanging power line connected to my house and this telephone pole across the street. Now, I live off of a main road. And my road, it's not a back road by any means, but it's fairly busy. I'm right by a highway, and we have lots of big, like 18-wheeler trucks that come through that technically aren't supposed to, but they do it anyway. So I'm sitting here looking at this wire going, I don't know what kind of line that is, whether it's phone or power or whatever, but what would be really bad is if one of those giant trucks came through and just ripped that off my house and probably took a tree down with it. I really hope that doesn't happen. I called National Grid. I told them, hey, you got to get out here. Please send help, SOS. And they're like, yeah, we're National Grid. We'll do our best. Like, okay, fine. I get it. Whatever. Like, we're not without power. I understand. But, it's a danger. So an hour goes by. I'm outside again. And all of a sudden, I hear it. I hear this horrible, giant cracking sound. And then you hear the falling of this, a huge, tree limb in the street. And I'm just like, oh no. I run out. I check. There's a truck all the way up at the top of the street, and they're stopped, and, 2 guys jumped out of it. I look at my house. There's part of the power line laying in my bushes, and the other half is now dangling across the street. And it took down a big tree limb with it. So I was like, good. Great. I wonder which line that was. And these 2 guys see me down the street. I don't know who they think I'm calling. Maybe they thought I was calling 911 or something, but why would I call 911 for that? No one was hurt, but I was calling National Grid back to say, yeah, so you guys can get out here soon enough. And exactly what I thought was going to happen happened. And now there's a live line just dangling across the street, and it's very windy. That's not good. So these guys see me dialing my phone, and they haul their bums back into their truck and take off. And I'm just like, oh, okay, not going to check to see if I'm fine. You just took down one of my power lines. Okay, whatever. I call National Grid. Oh, okay, well, you already called it in. So yeah. And I'm like, well, no, I'm telling you that the danger has upgraded, is now no longer a low hanging line. It is an active line, and it is down. It is down, I tell you. I'm trying to tell them, hey, this is kind of dangerous. Maybe not. But, it's National Grid. So I go into my house, and, I'm trying to take care of my dad at the same time because my dad's been sick. So that's also been why I've had, no time to do this stuff. And the power's on. I'm like, oh. I thought I would hear my dad oh, the TV went out. What happened? Freaking out. And so I'm looking around, and I'm just oh, okay, we didn't lose power. Maybe it wasn't that important. Well, I go and check the phone, and the phone's dead. I say, oh, okay, it's a phone line. Well, my genius self did not think that phone line means internet. So I'm like, okay. And sometimes when you go places, you have like a ghost Wi-Fi signal. Your phone tells you have Wi-Fi, but you really don't. That's kind of what happened to me. At first, I looked at my phone. I said, oh, I have Wi-Fi. Okay, well, no, I didn't. I did not. Wi-Fi was gone. So I went to my bedroom, went to go check the computer, and everything was loading kind of slowly. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then everything just stopped loading. I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of messed up. And realized, yes, the internet is now down. I am a genius. So I call my mom, and she's like, oh, you should call the phone company. We have Comcast. So I'm like, okay, cool. Call Comcast, or no, I call National Grid, tell them, listen, it's a phone line, not a power line, so I don't want you to waste your time, because if you come out here and you realize it's a phone line, not a power line, you're not going to want to do anything, because it's, it's not your district or something, I don't know. So I call Comcast, and I get this one girl, she forwards me, she's very nice. I get this other girl, and I can hardly understand what she's saying. Now, I'm very hard of hearing, and she's talking very fast. I know, fast for me, someone who can talk extremely fast sometimes and not realize it. But she was just talking way too fast for me. The connection wasn't that great. I was on my cell phone. I'm in a very woodsy area, and I'm very hard of hearing. So she's like talking, and she's saying like, oh, I'll try troubleshooting. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. A line is down. My phone line. This is what happened. The truck took it down. They took off. They didn't even care. And I'm like, this is the problem. This is exactly why. Like, don't bother to troubleshooting. It's not my box, whatever the Wi-Fi thing is. Like, no, it is literally that the line is down. And she's like, oh, yeah, that could definitely be the problem. And I'm like, yeah, yes, I would say that if the phone line is ripped off of the telephone pole in my house by a big truck, yes, that might be the problem. Like, oh my God. So I'm sitting there like this girl, I want to say something else, but I can't because family friendly. So I don't want my ads taken away. So this girl is a special one. And so she's sitting there and explaining stuff away, and she tells me something about Friday, something about Wednesday, and I'm like, hold up. No, you need to come out here and fix this today. Not you specifically, but you need to get someone out here to fix it today, just like how, National Grid was planning to, because guess what? It is a live wire hanging from a telephone pole on the side of the street and also in my bushes. That is not safe. That is not acceptable. And she's like just explaining more stuff, and like I can hardly hear what she's saying, and I'm just like, lady, okay, here, let me make it simple. Just give me a yes or no answer. Is someone coming out to look at the wire today? Emphasis on today. And she says yes. I go, okay. That's all I want to know. Cool. So I hang up. I assume that someone's coming out today, but have this like feeling in the back of my head that, you know what, I bet someone's not coming, and guess what? No one came. Now, I want to stress how dangerous it is when these wires are just like, dangling freely, but also it's just a major inconvenience to my mother and myself. Oh goodness, I'm so sorry. It's a major inconvenience to myself and my mother because we both work remotely from home. My mother only works remotely from home tomorrow, Wednesday, and then Fridays. But I currently, and I'm not even talking about YouTube, like YouTube, yeah, I like to consider it a part-time job, but honestly, it's just a hobby of mine that I love with a schedule and that I can make a little bit of money from right now. So, but my like job, being a graphic designer for this company that I work for, I work completely from home for them. And for instance, I got an email about 30 minutes ago of them asking me if I could take care of something and have it to them for Thursday. And I had to be like, hi, so yeah, I'm texting you from my phone, or I'm emailing you from my phone because this is a thing and life sucks. And yeah, my work is completely dependent on an internet connection. So yeah, that's just great. If I want to earn any living right now, I really can't. So it's a mess and it's awful. I can't even put in my hours. I have to wait till tonight. Not yesterday, last week. I did not work because they didn't have much work for me. It's all very project-based because I'm a designer, so this is more of a freelance gig, but I still have to put in my hours and just say, oh, I worked 0 hours last week, so they'll say, oh, okay, like, you know, blah, blah, whatever. But I can't even do that, and I got a notice in my email yesterday saying, like, oh, your hours are late, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, I can't submit them. Like, because the portal that you do it through, like, doesn't work very well on mobile. So I have to do it through my MacBook. And, well, I don't have internet, so it's been such a mess. But yeah, guys, so yeah, that's been my life. And that's why, you know, I had a feeling when I said, like, oh, there's going to be an extra upload this week. There's going to be 4 videos instead of 3. I knew just lately in my life, like you've seen, like, you know, last week too, I think it was, like, I've had so many upload problems lately and just issues having time to make videos or edit them or whatever. And I had a feeling in the back of my head, I was like, you know what? I just know something's going to go wrong. I'm going to promise everybody 4 videos and 4 videos will not go out, or, you know, they'll not go out when I say that they will. And I was right. Got hit by a massive storm. We didn't lose our power, but we lost our internet. So, and our phone line. So that's great. But yeah, so that's been my life. I've also been taking care of my dad. He's been sick. My dad tends to, when he gets sick, when he gets like a cold, like he gets like really bad. So like he has like the sweats, he has hot flashes, and then all of a sudden he's freezing. He can like barely move in bed right now, and it all sounds like he does have a fever, and it all sounds like it's just a really, really bad cold. There were other people at his work that were sick, so obviously it was something that went around, but just like it hits him really hard. And I'm not as bad as I used to be, but when I was younger, I was like super susceptible, and that's probably why, is genetics, but I used to get so horribly sick. Like the sniffles would be going around the school, and I would have like a full-blown flu. It was horrible. Wasn't that a nice little tangent? But yeah, so that's been my life, and I have been so thrilled sitting in my house with no Wi-Fi. I never realized how much I relied on my Wi-Fi. Like, you know, I was like, oh, I can always play Sims, just watch some Netflix or watch some Twitch or YouTube, or like, you know, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I need internet for that. So, and I don't want to eat up all my data either, so. But hey, let's talk about the build for a second, I guess, even though I'm not watching it right now. I hope you all enjoy it, by the way. Like I said, the main floor is all based off of the game. So if you look at the game board itself, you know what, no, I'm not going to provide a picture because I'm not going to promise and say like, oh, I have time to look up a picture and throw that in here right now. I really don't. But if you Google it real quick, or if you've played it before, I'm using the basic layout. There is a conservatory in the back right corner, which I actually turned into a piano room. And at first, when I was doing it, I kept thinking that it was the observatory, but no, it's a conservatory. Observatory would be like, oh, like, you know, you go and you use your telescope and you look at the stars and all this magical stuff, which is what I was thinking. And a conservatory, Dan enlightened me, is more like a green room. Or like, you know, just a room for plants. And I did not get that, like, you know, because I was telling him about how, oh, I didn't do the observatory, it's turned into a piano room, like a piano sitting room, and Dan was like, Nat, you realize it's the conservatory, right? Which is like a green room, you know, not an observatory. And I was like, oh, whoops. So I turned it into a piano room, hashtag whoops. I also added a bathroom to the main floor because, you know, everybody's got to pee. Let me pee! But anyway, ballroom, I think the ballroom came out okay. I hope we're at the ballroom by now. But the ballroom came out okay. I was thinking of it being much larger and grander, but frankly, I think I made this place pretty darn big as it is. And I couldn't make it much bigger. The only place I can think of that could probably make it bigger was the park in, oh my goodness, why do I always forget the name of the original town? It's not Newcrest, but, you know, the main base game town, I guess, with the really, really big park. Like, or in a Magnolia Promenade, but that'd be weird. But I wanted to do a spooky build. This is supposed to be my Halloween spectacular that's not so spectacular. I mean, it's still spectacular, but like now it's being dragged out more and it's being like pushed into November. Like my goal was to get, after the whole internet thing yesterday, my goal was to get you 2 videos today where I was just going to do this entire build, and I was going to do the Clue cast and upload all those at Dan's Nana's house. But unfortunately, just with time right now, and just knowing that I cannot handle a 40-minute voiceover. I personally cannot do that. Some people can. I personally just cannot. I am not like a podcast speaker. I can't do that. This 25-minute one is hard enough. So that was not going to work out. And then, like, I didn't even have the cast. Like, I hadn't even started editing yet. I didn't take any screenshots for it. And I'm like, I could bring you guys, like, I want to say this term, but I know I can't because there's a curse word in it. But basically, I don't want to give you guys poorly done content. I believe in quality over quantity. So instead of 2 uploads today, one being extremely absurdly long, the other one relatively short, we're just going to drag this out a bit, and hopefully it'll keep you guys coming back, and hopefully you'll see this first part here and you'll say, oh, this looks like it's going to be really cool, and hopefully you'll come and watch the second part. And if you went and watched the second part first, well, what are you doing? You doofus. But yeah, so we're gonna drag it out. But yeah, main floor is based on the game, which I already said, so why am I repeating that? I don't know. I'm trying to think of what my favorite room is. I like how the study came out. I like how the library came out. The kitchen is a little odd, but I didn't want to pay too much attention to the kitchen. I mean, like, yeah, I probably could have done something a little bit different, but the shape of the room is weird. And frankly, I was just thinking, like, lots of cooks and waiters, and they're just serving all these people in this big mansion. You need lots of counter space. Let's just make this like a long room just filled with counters and, like, double ovens, double fridges, whatever we got to do, just do it. I was trying to think like more old fashioned, like, this isn't like a room where the guests will be coming in to be entertained. Like, like how in a more modern kitchen nowadays, you might have an island counter where you can entertain your guests at parties. But in this, I'm thinking, no, this is kind of like, servants' quarters, but like it's not. It's the kitchen. So they are just in there to cook, and then they are serving that, and that's it. It's not like, to be entertained in. So, I think for the style that I was going for, it's a little bit wonky, but it serves its purpose properly when I think about it. My favorite room, probably, I really like how the dining room came out. I like how the main hall in general came out. I really like the flooring that I did. I like the big open space with the chandelier dropping down. I think it looks a little bit weird right now in this part of the build. I'm not 100% sure because I can't look at it right now, but we do go in and touch up the spacing on the second floor in the second part of this build. So, there will be more of that, but, like, in the end, like, I love the main hall. I love the foyer where you walk in, you have the big chandelier hanging down, and I think that's all good. I like the library. As you can probably tell, sorry. Holy crap. As you can probably tell, I tried to not go too crazy with furnishing. I mean, okay, no, I went relatively crazy with furnishing because this is, and by the way, I'm sorry if you hear that creaking, that's my chair. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm awkward. Merp. But yeah, I tried to not go too crazy in the sense of I was trying to keep this as, like, time sensitive as possible. For instance, the ballroom, like, there are a couple tables in there for serving, but, like, there's not a whole bunch of, like, decorations on them or anything like that. I feel like the library looks like a library. It's not, like, it looks lavish in the sense of it looks old, it looks antique, it looks like the whole house looks like that, I think. There are some rooms with more lavish decorations, like the dining room or the main lounge, which is the front left corner of the house, the, like, powder blue room. The piano room looks relatively nice, like, and then all of the bedrooms you'll see, because in the game, there's no second floor. But, I mean, come on, what was I gonna do? Just leave the second floor, like, with nothing? So, I mean, I could have done that and just said it was abandoned, but no. In the second part of this build, we go into the second floor, and we do all kinds of very lavish bedrooms and all that fun stuff. But yeah, wow, I just realized we're actually coming to the end of the video right now, because we're sitting at about 25 minutes or so. So, I guess I'll shut up. I guess I'll say that for now, my favorite room is the library, but I'm sure it's something different. I don't know. We'll find out. But, No screenshots in this one today, you guys, just because we're saving the screenshots for the end of the build, but thank you guys so much for watching. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, I'm so sorry that all this life stuff got in the way. I try to bring videos to you every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Please, please, please tune in for part 2. Let me know if you liked this first part of this clue house. Stay tuned for part 2. Make sure you come back for the casts, and yeah, I hope to see you all in the next video. Happy Halloween, guys.